Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and welcome back to day number 29 of March Madness. Today's page map sketch comes from February of 2015. It's also Simple Stories Saturday, where we show our love for simple stories. So I brought out the Simple Stories New Year's Eve collection to document some photos of us at the Grand Floridian. I have done several layouts with this collection, and I love it so much that I actually ended up purchasing a second collection with my most recent Scrapbook.com order. For the far left-hand side, I decided to pull out this paper that has the noisemakers on it, and I did cut off 2 strips so that I could use the stripe paper that's on the back of it. I decided to print all of my photos at a 3x4 size, and I am definitely taking inspiration from this sketch, but not really following it exactly the way it is. I was looking for a paper to span across the back, and I did decide to pull out this black paper that has the white polka dots on it. As I was looking through the photos, I was like, I'm missing one. And I actually had to pull out the envelope, and sure enough, it was there. I had cut it down from another layout, and it was stuck at the bottom of the envelope. I pulled out this 4x4 card, and I thought that would be perfect. And unfortunately, I do make a mistake here shortly, and I'm not able to use it. So I'm just going to measure out the photos, trying to decide how big I want to make this polka dotted paper. I ended up cutting it at 7.5 inches, and then this is where I made the mistake. When I went to cut the other side, I realized that Cheers paper stuck to the back of it, and it got cut. So I'm not able to use it. Luckily, the back of it is a really pretty blue, so I'm sure that I'll still be able to use the back of it for something else. Once I get the polka dotted paper cut down to size, I'm going to go ahead and figure out the placement of my photos. These photos are of us at the Grand Floridian. When you visit the resort, there is a photo area that's on the second floor, and we stop there often. One of the best photo opportunities when it's available is Cinderella's slipper. Unfortunately, it wasn't available this day, but we did get some really cool magic shots. We have a present that we're holding in some of the photos, and then in a couple of the photos, we were pretending to blow, and they added some magic confetti that has Mickey heads as well as the year 2024. We did take these photos on New Year's Eve. We started out at Disney early in the morning, and when I say early, it was like 9 o'clock in the morning or so. We wanted to check out the gingerbread houses before they went away, but it was also an activity that we could do with the kids that was kid-friendly for New Year's Eve. We did all of that at Disney, finished around like 2 or 3, headed home, and then we just had dinner at the house, and we had a bonfire, and we just celebrated the New Year here at home. And I do have a video of those photos. I'll link it here. I actually think I'm using the exact same collection as this one, which is kind of funny. I did mount all of my photos on white. I felt like they were getting lost. We are all wearing extremely dark colors except for my friend's daughter. Like Eli's in his black Nike jacket. I'm in a navy blue shirt. My friend's in like a dark burgundy shirt. Kevin and his son are in like blue and black. And then we have the little one who's in like this bright blue Ariel sweatshirt. It was definitely cold that day. Well, cold for Florida, because, you know, we don't get very cold down here. But us Floridians were cold. You could tell by all of us wearing pants as well as long sleeve shirts and hoodies. So all of that darkness I felt like was getting lost on the black polka dot. So I did go ahead and mount all of them on white. And then I'm going to add the rest of the paper down. I did add the stripes down first on the far left-hand side, and then added that black paper with the noisemakers on top of it so that it looks like the stripe paper is a solid piece behind that noisemaker paper. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the black polka dotted paper down. I did find another card that I could use. It was a 4x6 card, so I am going to have to make adjustments to some of the photos. But it says the best is yet to come. And I really like the added orange from that card because the photo of all of us together actually has an orange top to it. Like the background had that orange piece. So it kind of ties the photo to that 4x6 card. I had decided that I was going to do the numbers 10 to 1 over on the far right instead of that pattern paper. But once I started to lay the photos down, I realized that my photos were too wide and I wasn't going to be able to get the numbers down the side like I wanted to. So I did end up trimming down the 2 photos of my friend Christina and Kevin blowing the confetti. I wanted to have a lot more of the confetti showing, but I still feel like I was able to capture it, especially since both of them are right next to each other. You can see the confetti in both of them, and it really does point out that you can see the Mickey ears as well as the year 2024. And I'm not sure why Eli and I did not get that magic shot, now that I'm thinking about it. I do add all of the photos flat to the layout except for the group shot of all of us over on the left-hand side. I do decide to put that one up on Fun Foam just to give it a little bit of definition and separation from all of the other photos. I was able to get a total of 7 photos on this layout. You could absolutely do an 8th photo instead of the 4x6 photo, or get 9 photos on this layout by having 2 3x4 photos. I do have a tutorial on how to create smaller photos, whether it's 3x4s, 2x2s, or even 2x3 photos. I have 2 tutorials for that. One's for Project Life and one is for Canva. I will link both of them below for you guys. I think that having the ability to make your photos smaller, whether you're printing at home or you're sending them off like I do, I send them to Walgreens, it makes a big difference when you're able to make your photos smaller. So I pulled out the sticker sheet and I did decide to put all of the numbers up on Fun Foam, and they're going to count down from 10 to 1 starting at the top. I did overlap them, and I did this before in another layout where I overlapped them and I was running out of room. So the 10 through 6 has a little bit more breathing room, but then the 5 through 1 is a little bit closer together. And I just feel like that kind of adds the excitement to it. Like when you get down to the 5 and you're going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it feels like it's faster, even though obviously it's not. But I just feel like it is, and then by squishing the numbers together, it gives it that vibe to it. And I really like the way that that turned out instead of using the strip of paper that the sketch calls for. Of course, I do have to add some liquid adhesive to the back of the Fun Foam. I talked about this in my Facebook group. I did enter one of my layouts into our local strawberry festival and I won first place. But when I picked it up, one of the embellishments had fallen off, and it was because I had used Fun Foam. So I've been trying to be more mindful of making sure that I'm also adding the liquid adhesive, because even though these are stickers and the foam will stick to the stickers, it didn't hold up to being handled by lots of people. And I want to make sure that even though I am using the Fun Foam, it is something that is going to stay on there. So I did take a little bit of extra time to make sure that the foam was sticking to those stickers by adding some extra adhesive. And that layout was the Hello Spring layout, which was also a Simple Stories layout, and by far my favorite layout that I think that I have ever created. I'll link it here for you guys if you'd like to check it out. I then started to create my embellishment cluster over on the far left-hand side. I added some balloons as well as a little sign that says Happy New Year, and it has the same feel as The Best Is Yet to Come. It has that little banner as well as the black and white piece, so I think that that ties it in really well. Over on the far right-hand side, I did decide to add a noisemaker, and I felt like that tied in the pattern paper that's over on the left. I also added a star cluster, but wasn't liking that, so then I added this circle that says Let's Party, but that's eventually going to come up as well. I did put my stamping block on top of it to make sure that it stayed down, and then I started to work on the cluster that's going to be on the bottom left-hand side. I started out with this little pink tag that I added up on Fun Foam, and I'm going to add it right below the photo. I then went back to the right-hand side of the layout and I added a party hat up to the top, as well as a little streamer piece and a heart. And then I found this tab that has all of the same bright colors on it, and I thought about adding it to the bottom, but it definitely got lost on that black paper, so I did decide to add it to the top right. And then I felt like I needed to add some words to both of these tags, so I do end up adding Good Friends over on the far left-hand side. And then for the tab that's up on the right, I did add New Year. I also found these lips, and I thought that was super cute, so I had to add that. And I also decided to add another little confetti piece up to the far left. I felt like the lips were getting lost, so I did have these stars that I had cut out for another layout, and I just kept them in with the collection. They're from the pattern paper, so I decided to add that behind the lips, and I like the way that that blue makes the lips stand out. And since I had the star down to the far left, I decided that I should add a couple of stars throughout the layout, so I added some to each one of the clusters. And then I felt like, well, why not go ahead and build a cluster down by the number 1 to really make that 1 stand out. So I started out with a blue star, and then I added a confetti piece, as well as a star cluster. And then I'm looking through the words trying to find something else since I had words in all the other clusters, and I did find New Year's Eve. Even though I have New Year at the top, I figured why not go ahead and add that as well. So I added New Year's Eve, and I did have to move that confetti piece around a little bit to make it all fit properly. And then I pulled out my color boxes in clear, pink, and blue and added some bling. I felt like this was definitely a layout that needed some bling, and I have been using a lot of bling lately. I love my enamel dots, but I'm also really enjoying the bling. So I added those to each one of the clusters. I also found these arrows that are sparkly pink, and I decided to add those to the top and bottom so that's kind of pointing into the layout. And then I just had this flare on my table that didn't get used in another layout, so I decided to go ahead and add it to this one. I did put it in a bottle cap. That flare says there's no place like Disney for the holidays, and that's where I decide to replace that blue sticker with this flare. And then I decided to go ahead and add that heart back down. I do my journaling in batches, and I have already done my journaling for this layout. I do have a tutorial that I will link below as well as in the eye here for you if you would like to know how I cut out these strips. I do use a die, and then Nicole has the spreadsheet that you can use. I use Google Sheets to type up all of your journaling, and then you can use the die to cut them out. My journaling says, we kicked off our New Year's Eve celebration with a resort hop at Disney. We made a stop at the Grand Floridian for a fun photo shoot. It was a fantastic way to ring in 2024. I did stack those 3 high and then add them to my layout on the left-hand side. And then of course I did have to add a little Mickey head right next to my journaling. And then that is it for this video. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. We are getting so close to the end of March Madness, and I can't believe we have 29 layouts completed. I do have everyone who is participating in Simple Stories Saturday linked below, so if you would like to go check out all of the other ladies who are showcasing their love for Simple Stories. All right, if you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.